Hi, everybody. Welcome to this briefing. Excited to talk about channel agents in this one and some of the kind of use cases for channel agents, some of the features and capabilities. Really interesting new feature just come into preview. We've got Sandhya, who's a familiar face to the community, and you've probably seen on fireside chats or pods before. Sandhya, maybe you could talk about your new role and the new features you're working on.
Absolutely. It's great to see you again, Tom, in a slightly different capacity than my devices days. But earlier this year, I moved into the agentic AI space, still in Microsoft Teams, still, trying to drive as much productivity and collaboration as possible and give that to our end users, but just in a slightly different capacity, not via devices, but via agents and generative AI.
Oh, really nice to have you back on with your new hat on and a really exciting space. I mean, Teams has such a big use for, literally hundreds of millions of users. It feels like a really interesting surface for agents and agentic and workflow stuff. And so the first thing you've been working on is channel agents. Maybe we could talk about what that is and what the use case is to start.
Yeah, for sure. So, in Teams, there's channels, there's also chats, and of course, meetings. And with meetings, we have facilitator that's running, and and the facilitator is an agent that will help you run your meetings. And so then the question becomes, well, what about async communications? What about all of the kind of things that you're doing in Teams in those channels or chats, if you will? We selected channels as the first surface to really go in deep. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Channels are really a durable place where people congregate, they can have a project, they can attach assets to it. It's effectively your virtual war room, if you will, for any project or event or function that you're working on. And so in there, you can have files, you can have all the chats related to what you're doing. And so what we have built is an agent that you can add to any channel that you have, and that agent is going to help you be more productive. So it will help you in terms of answering questions about your project that, is grounded in the content that you have in your channel. And it's also going to provide things like status reports or help you schedule meetings. So some of the everyday mundane things that people have to do to make sure that their projects stay on task or their event that they're planning is moving along, but it's going to help you do some of those things so that you can actually maybe think about higher order areas, or get the sort of basic information from the agent and then add to it and enhance it to make your project go faster and smoother.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So if you're using Teams, kind of the way it's intended, you have a team and then you have channels, and the channel is around a topic. So in some organizations, the team might be the project and the channels could be subparts of that, sales, development, whatever it is. In other organizations, actually, it might be a team for the company and the channel might be everything about that project in the channel. But in either case, this agent is specifically grounding on that specific channel. So the history of that channel and the chat in that channel, is it grounding over the files in that channel as well as the chat history, or just the chat history?
So we're in public preview right now. So right now it does not use the files, but you can imagine that is a big ask from our customers. And so it's something that, we're certainly thinking about. And the other big area that I think a lot of our customers do is meetings. And for any project or any event that you're scheduling, you usually are actually talking to other people in real time about those things. And so we do allow for the agent to add the content from those meetings into its knowledge base. And so what that means is when you have a meeting, you can add your agent to that meeting, and it will collect all the notes, and it'll generate a summary from that meeting. And then that summary gets checked into its knowledge base. So then when you ask it a question about, hey, what was the decision we made last week about, the project marketing plan, it'll be able to reason over that summary that was checked in and add information from it.
Nice. So it's a channel meeting and therefore the channel agent's in, or can that be a non-channel meeting, but you pull the agent into the meeting anyway?
It can be any meeting. It can be a just regular private meeting, which I think the vast majority of people, do just,
Yeah,
just schedule a meeting with 3 people, right?
That's really handy because it's been really hard to hammer home the value of channel meetings because it was kind of one more step to schedule them in the channel. But actually, if you can get into that habit now, you're kind of building the case for having all the knowledge in one place. But the reality, as you say, is that people tend to schedule them still from Outlook is muscle memory. So being able to bring it in wherever the meeting was scheduled is really nice as well.
Yeah. And I mean, there, to your point, there is a benefit to doing the channel meetings because then the agent is already there and you don't have to remember to add it and, generate the summary from it. But, we know that a lot of people don't do that.
Despite 8+ years of trying to push people to, I think AI, slight side tangent, but I think AI is going to be a really strong use case for why use teams and channels now because of this keeping all the knowledge in one place and things like this. People coming onto a project, they could now join the team, come into the channels, use the channel agent to get up to speed quickly on the history of what's gone on the project so far, which is really nice.
Yeah, and I think also there's an aspect of security and not kind of bringing in information from other channels that maybe you didn't intend for this project or this event to take advantage of. And so there are definitely advantages to having this kind of smaller base of grounding for the agent versus your Copilot, which is grounded on everything in your graph effectively.
Yeah, that's a great distinction. There's 2 things there. One is like it's grounding over more specific data, so it will give you the answer more specifically to that channel. And also, it's more of a multiplayer experience, isn't it? So Copilot, you're engaging, whereas in this scenario, you're talking to the channel agent in the channel. So actually, as you're prompting and engaging with it, other people in the channel can engage, provided they've got the M365 Copilot license. But even if they haven't got the M365 Copilot license, they can see what's going on with the agent and the summaries, can't they?
Yeah, and I think this is a brand new area for us, right? Just generally, I think this is really early days for learning how people are going to work with agents in that multiplayer environment. I think still we have a lot of customers who are just getting used to having AI or having an agent, let alone the fact that, oh, both you and I can actually interact with the same agent and we can, have multi-turn conversation with it and build on things, meaning like I could say, hey, do a competitive analysis with these 3 competitors and then you could come in and say let's redo that or let's update that and add these 5 other things and we kind of build off of each other's prompting and whatnot to get to a final collaborative output, which if you did that, you can do that alone with Copilot, but it's not collaborative then with the other person, right? You're giving it to them and then they're actually reacting to it.
Yeah, and I think it's a great way to get people engaged with AI. Like there's a whole bunch of people who are proactively using Copilot, but like there is an adoption curve there. But actually this is interesting because it kind of draws people into that conversation. But also I feel like this uses the word agent fairly legitimately in that it's not just here's a bot to answer questions of, it's actually doing stuff proactively. So we'll walk through some of the features, but I guess the first one is it does do the thing you'd expect, the question and answer. So you can mention it in the channel, ask it a question, and it's going to be grounded over that data to give you the answer. And again, that's giving the answer as a channel reply, right? So that's available to then everybody in the channel. Is that right?
Yeah, so it'll use the grounding it has, and then also if if web is needed, it'll go and do web search as well. So it can use both of those things, and everybody can see the responses. And anybody who has M365 Copilot license can also interact with it.
Nice. And we mentioned the meeting integration, so being able to add it to a regular meeting or have it in a channel meeting to kind of take information out of that meeting and add it to its graph or its grounding, I guess, as well.
Yeah, and there's actually there's two aspects of the meeting which can be valuable. So one is what we talked about in terms of getting the meeting summary and pulling that into its knowledge base for future reasoning over. The second piece is if you just want to add it to the agent, to add it to the meeting, just to ask it questions. So, for example, many times you might be meeting with your colleagues from another group or whatnot, and they're asking you questions about your event or your project, and you can't necessarily remember all of those things.
Yeah.
And so, what you can do is you can actually add it to the meeting, and you can ask it questions in the meeting about those things. And so it'll do the same Q&A that it does in the channel, but it'll be in a meeting. And then in addition, you can again collaborate with it. So if people say, oh, let's do a competitive analysis, on this, it can actually do that with you in the meeting as a Q&A. There are times, of course, where some people might not have access to the channel that are in your meeting. And so we do have kind of speed bumps along the way if we see, okay, somebody might not have access to this information. And then we do have a human in the loop process whereby you would need to read the response of the agent.
That's an interesting use case, isn't it? Obviously, the meeting could be a superset of people compared to channel membership. So is the agent allowed to share that information? So you're landing on the side of no, if there's people in the meeting who shouldn't have access to that data, it's not going to present that data.
Well, so it'll present it to you if you're both in the channel and in the meeting, and it'll say, do you want to actually share this to everybody in the meeting?
Oh, nice. Okay, so I'll give you the option.
So there's that check of, are you consenting to, sharing this information, and then it'll move forward.
Nice. And this will work alongside facilitator doing its thing as well. So I guess they both exist in the meeting at that point.
Yeah, so this is a good question. So also early days, right? We have a lot of work to do. So facilitator and the channel agent do not talk to each other currently in a meeting. And so if you wanted to ask the channel agent something, you would mention the channel agent and it would go do that. And then with facilitator, you would mention facilitator, and facilitator also has some proactive capabilities. And we really defer to facilitator in the meeting because, it is kind of the super agent, if you will, for meetings. And so, that's how that works right now.
That's good to understand. So they can coexist, but you would just specifically address one or the other, and the facilitator is going to do its standard thing in the meeting of putting summary and actions and different bits and pieces.
Yeah. But obviously in the future, as people are working with 30 or 40 different agents, it will get confusing and you won't know who to necessarily address, right? Just like with people in a meeting, you may not know exactly who does the marketing plan versus who is, writing the, event, schedule and things like that. And so, as an industry and also within Teams and Microsoft, we'll need to think about how do these agents interact with each other and, actually help the end user so that the end user doesn't necessarily have to keep track of who to actually call on when they need a certain task done.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Both use cases can be true. So there's a use case where I specifically know the data lives there, or that's the agent I need to talk to for that use case. And so I'm making my success rate much higher by pre-addressing the agent I know that has probably the best answer. And then there's this like theoretical one Copilot for everything type scenario where I can just ask it the question and it uses its intelligence to either deduce where to go, or probably more likely which agent to pick of its arsenal to talk to together to say, now I'll get the answer.
Right. Yeah. So all of that coordination, I think, is going to be a very interesting problem to solve. And I think there's also, considerations of, you know, if it's like a Microsoft agent versus is it a third party agent, and are those the same or different, or maybe the end user, has different kind of needs for all of those things. And so we'll have to sort through a lot of those questions.
Yeah, it's interesting times. So let's talk about task management, because the channel agent has some capability to create tasks in Planner as well. Is that right?
Yeah. So it's interesting. When we started this journey, we were, starting small because we knew we wanted to launch something pretty quickly. And so where we started was really kind of figuring out what personas might benefit from an agent in a channel the most initially. And one of the personas that we really thought could benefit was this idea of a project manager or TPM in the product world and engineering world. Whereby there's these kind of recurring tasks. There's things that people need to stay on top of. There's meetings that need to be scheduled. And so what our first pass around this has been is what is the set of features that can really benefit those types of personas. And so there are three main things there. One is the status report, one is scheduling meetings, and one is, as you mentioned, task management. And so with task management, it's really, being able to effectively assign tasks to people for certain things, and leveraging Planner as the back end to be able to store those tasks. You can pin a Planner board into your channel. You can always see, okay, who's on point with all of these things. Planner provides a more structured way to, really see all of the tasks that you have at hand and manage those. And so the agent is effectively able to create those tasks and help you manage those tasks over time.
Nice. And you mentioned the status report. I think that's one of the killer use cases. And I feel like, the PM use case feels spot on here, which is the project's rattling away in the channel and they need to either send out or summarize out what's gone on in the channel to the stakeholders. And channel agent can do that all proactively, essentially like generating a kind of a loop page or component summary of what's gone on in the channel.
Yeah. So when you add the agent to a channel, it's automatically programmed to generate status reports every week. Now, this might change over time because some channels don't really need a status report. Some channels do, but right now,
I noticed in the settings you can actually change the scheduling the other day, which is interesting because I've set up a whole bunch of them and suddenly it was like sending me loads, but you can change them from weekly to monthly or one-off. So there's some stuff going on there, and you can choose when you want it to happen as well, which is quite useful for we do our status reports on a Wednesday, generate them all then.
Yeah, absolutely. So we know different people want more configurations. And so you can configure it, as you mentioned. And what it'll do is it'll reason over all of the knowledge that it has. That could include knowledge in the channel itself, as well as if you've added it to meetings, pulling all those meeting summaries. And it'll reason over all of that to be able to generate a weekly or daily status report in a loop that will be published in the channel for anybody to look at. And then you can subsequently forward that to, whoever you want who might not be in the channel. And then, it has a structure to it that's similar to, a lot of status reports with highlights and lowlights and a little summary, as well as some of the more detailed information towards the bottom of it. And that's really the first proactive, feature that this agent has. Where it's just automatic. You don't really have to do anything. You can configure it if you want to, but it's going to generate at a certain time every week or every day.
Yeah, and that was interesting when I first used it because it's sending the status report to me as a direct message as opposed to in the channel, which I was interesting. It's presumably I can tune my schedule of status report differently to somebody else can tune it, or is it sending it to everybody at the same time based on that schedule?
Yeah, so that's something that we're still innovating on. I would say we are, the first pass was around sending it to you kind of privately to review. I think that we are more and more realizing that we want to keep it in the channel and in
Yeah,
one surface, just like
that was my
streamline
expected
it.
behavior, was to see it pop up in the channel. Obviously, then I can access it and do stuff with it. But actually, it's a status report for the team, so the channel feels like the right home for it.
Yeah, and a lot of that is learnings, right? This whole industry, this whole agentic AI area, uh, is is evolving so fast. And when we embarked on this early in the year, the quality of some of the AI was different than what it is now, right? And what we know is a lot different. And so, we're taking baby steps. I do think that as we learn more, I mean, things change weekly, daily,
Yeah.
and we will be evolving as well in terms of the product. And that's why we're in public preview. We're not in GA, because we do think we want to learn and learn from customers of really what's working, what's not working, how can we actually make it more streamlined and effective for you, but also making sure that you feel like you're in control and you can trust the agent, and the outputs are kind of what you would like to see.
Yeah, it's really interesting. You say like, and just Microsoft at large, and then the industry as well. Like, there's so much going on. I think everybody's experimenting with what might work, what doesn't work. And as you said, they're public preview, so people listening into this briefing, this is the time to kind of get your feedback in, because I know it's really being listened to in terms of, well, it'd be great if it could do this, or actually, I need a summary on this schedule, or for this reason. This is a great time to feed that back.
Yeah, and I actually read the feedback that comes in every day. So on with every agent interaction, there's a thumbs up, thumbs down that end users can do. I actually look forward to people who have provided that, and also provided verbatims, because we really do want to make this as relevant and useful to our end users. And sometimes it's just really hard to know what's working, what's not. And especially in this world, right? It's very different than devices. With devices, I mean, devices are hard. Let's not say that they're not,
Yeah,
right? But you do get some signal as to if something is down, if something is running. What are people
it's a
pressing?
comparatively constrained usage scenario. Like, there's only so many different ways. Well, there's still plenty, but like a room or a phone is intended to use and can be used. Whereas with what data could be in the channel and how a person perceives value in agent is quite wide potentially.
Right. It's going from deterministic to stochastic, right? And
Yeah,
and and you don't even know, somebody might have asked us something and they may never give us a thumbs down or thumbs up. Maybe it was great and they loved it and they're on their way, but maybe it was really bad and they just didn't want to pursue that. But I don't know, right? And unless I get
well,
that kind
you've
of
been doing this.
signal.
You've been doing this long enough to know that, like, people only feedback when they're annoyed. If it works, they're like, "Great," and carry on. So you only you only get the or you get very impassioned people feeding back as well. But hopefully, in public
That's
preview,
right.
people are opting in, so they're hopefully more interested to give feedback. I think particularly in this space where the people pushing the boundaries with agentic will be interested in. I have no doubt you're getting feedback of like, it's great, but I'd love it to do this, I'd love it to do that.
Right, yeah. And I think also people are learning how to use it and how to incorporate it into their workflow, which is also um, it's fascinating for me to learn. We want to think we've talked to enough customers and built something that is worthwhile, but there's always different use cases and different needs, and really kind of understanding how to use the agent and almost evolve what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. So you might have been spending 5 hours a week creating status report because you're chasing after different people and wondering what the status is, and now that can be generated automatically, but your 5 hours can be spent in different ways. First, you definitely want to review the status report. Is it accurate, right? Are there things you want to add to it? So it's going from this creation culture to editing, reviewing, and then, what more can you do, that you didn't have time for previously.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
it's kind of interesting.
And to that point, I guess having the status report be in the channel makes sense, because actually you're kind of getting implicit sign off or engagement with the team. So actually, if I'm not sure if something's right or wrong in the status report, I can just mention the person in the channel and say, Scott, did you definitely agree to this, or was this discussed? 'Cause I wasn't on every call. So I like the multiplayer element of it.
Yeah.
So talking of how it works, I think you've got an instance you can show us and maybe do a couple of demos on.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. Okay, so here I've got Core Fiber launch. It's a project. It's in our demo tenant. They're launching apparel that has sensors and some neat technology in it. What happened here was the team had been ideating on it. The agent, Core Fiber launch agent, just sent out a status report. And so a few things you'll notice. The agent is called the same name as the actual channel. So that's an easy way to keep track of your agents. And then when you look into the status report, it's a loop component, and basically it will go through some of the highlights and lowlights of what is happening with the project and a little summary of the current status. And then it goes into more details on work items, and you can look into this further. And then it will also give risks if there are risks to the project. For now, we don't have risks on this one. So that's really what status report is all about.
And you can set if you hover over the bot, you can go to settings and you can set how often you want that to generate and when you want it to generate. And
that's nice. Right. So, here it's generating every Tuesday at 12 and it's in November, and you can set it to weekly, daily. Yeah.
Nice.
And for those people who actually don't want status reports, a little hack right now, because it is an automated feature, is you can have an end date, and just if you put the end date as today, you might get one status report, but then you'll never get them again.
Yeah, that's a good tip.
Yeah. So then the other, it can do a lot more. You can do Q&A. So I can just go ahead and ask it a question here. So let me just, so you mention it, and it should show up in the agent and people list here. And I asked it a question about, as we're building, can you share some of the top requirements? So I'll just go ahead and send that in. And it will, start to kick in and effectively go through its chain of thought, which I can show you a little bit more about. So here we go. This is now, I'll make this a little bigger here. This is now reasoning, and as it reasons, it'll show you what it's doing. It'll look at the internal knowledge that it has. It might actually look at some of the external knowledge from the web if it deems that could be important to the response of this question. And then it will share the response so that we can collaborate together and ask it more things further on.
Yeah, the web bit's interesting as well, because like we might be having a conversation about, well, what are our competitors doing or what's going on in the market? So the fact it can reach out to some of the web information is quite handy.
Yeah, I found that really helpful just in my day-to-day, in my channels. I ask it a lot of times, what's the latest news on agents? You could ask that every day. You could ask that every week. We do integrate with workflows in Teams. And so you could actually schedule that through workflows, so that you can get kind of every Monday at 9, you can get your web response.
Oh, interesting. So you can use workflows to schedule, because I guess it's just a mention of the agent and that kicks off the process.
Yeah.
That's clever.
So this is the response. So it looks like it gave a few bits of information on some of the top requirements, going through compliance, technical specs, and whatnot. Then I can say, okay, at at Core Agent, Core Fiber Agent, schedule some time with the team to review these these requirements. And so it's going to go ahead and find time for the team to meet and offer an opportunity for us to schedule a channel meeting.
Nice. Again, that's like that kind of a perfect PM use case of then having to run around and get everybody together. So being able to pick up tasks like that's really nice.
Yeah, and this is where, again, it's early days. Right now, we have the ability to schedule channel meetings. You would not be able to schedule kind of your one-off, separate non-channel meeting.
I don't hate that though, because it's kind of, I mean, for this use case, it's pushing the data, the meeting, to where it should be. There are some subtle feature differences between channel and regular meetings, I think, still. But for this use case, I'd like to see the meetings pulled into the channel by default, because that's where we want all the data, the transcript, the recording to all be stored there. And as we get to the point where potentially it could reason over files and other information in the channel, then that gets even more powerful.
Yeah. For sure. So it looks like, okay, here we go. So it provides meeting title. It provides the participants that it thinks it should be included, and these are participants in the channel, of course. And then it actually also provides a little summary, which is really nice, and that's based on what we've discussed in the thread, and then a time to meet. And then I can just press go ahead and schedule the meeting, and then what ends up happening here is in the main channel. You'll get the invitation to meet.
Nice.
So that's what this is. This is in the main thread of the channel.
That's awesome. Anything else you want to share about kind of direction of travel or thinking or anything else? I mean, it's preview, as you said, so I guess it's you're probably just in the middle of gathering feedback and thinking on what works and what's next.
Yeah, there's a lot more to come, I would say. Definitely, I would encourage all of your listeners and fans to try it out now. As you know, Ignite is only a month away.
Yeah.
And so you can imagine we will have a number of additional features and integrations coming there. So once you get started on this, and get familiar with it, you'll get a whole new tranche of things to play with in about a month or so.
Awesome. Well, Sandhya, thanks so much for explaining, giving us a bit of demo. We'll link to there's some good docs, and there's a blog on kind of how it all works and stuff. But yeah, I would encourage people to give this a go in preview. This is the time to have a play and get your feedback. And as was the hint there, more coming down the road in terms of features and capabilities. So looking forward to that.
Great.
Awesome. Thanks so much.